Okay, this is probably gonna be. Oh, I guess I'm gonna say a little bit of my last DBD video. I am starting to get pretty burnt out playing DBD, so I figure I take like a week or two off. I'm probably gonna play a different game because I feel like most of my videos I realize on my channel are just nothing but DBDs videos. But I want to take some quick concession here of I want to make some clearance about my decisions. The previous decisions I make with all the killers, you know, what I would change for the unknown, what I would change for the dredge, the rework knight, and all that stuff. The knight's buff, very good. Actually, I think too good, maybe. I don't know. Some people misunderstand knight, though. I'm going to talk about knight here, and then I want to talk about dredge and some Myers, too. Maybe unknown as well. But anyways, for the knight is a very strong killer. I mean, and yes, why am I saying I'm going to talk about knight when I already did? Well, that's because some people are starting to misunderstand the knight. Some people say that he's way too overpowered now since the buffs, where he can now manually switch guards and place wherever he wants. Now, don't get me wrong, knight feels much better to play, and yes, he is really strong right now. But that's against like some bad or decent survivors. Like if the survivors don't know how to deal with the guards, yes, knight's gonna be OP as fuck. Like, come on now. But against good survivors, he's fairly strong because knight is smoother to play. The guards can waste their time, but remember, they're AI. They can literally just go through a they literally drop a pallet. Like, one time I was playing as knight on the killer shack with the Oni's map, the samurai map. This Vittorio literally just dropped a pallet right in front of my assassin, and then I decided to assist the assassin, so I pressured the Vittorio, and he went around the corner where the assassin's actually heading to him. So I was like, okay, you're gonna get a hit. And the fucking assassin just went right through him. So, I mean, or not through him, but like went right by him and just went to the pallet. So, come on. Knight is a strong killer, but he's not too overpowered because there are some flaws that Knight has that good survivors will take advantage of, and that's mainly the AI. Even though the guards won't hit the survivors, they will still do something for you. They'll still waste their time. They're not doing the time of them being hunted is the time they're not doing the gens. Let's be real with that. But sometimes I don't feel like valuable to have because what are you doing? You're gonna send a guard out to a survivor. Well, what are you doing? You need to go find somebody else. Jailer is the best for this since he chases the longest. Knight can have a bunch of time. I mean, come on. We cannot forget about each of their guards and their own factors, and each of them having unique strengths and weaknesses. Some of them are good for some things, and then there are some others that are good at other things. Carnifex is used to break the pallets. He's really good at that. Assassin can try to get the hits since he's the fastest one ever. And Jailer is good for either patrolling or just pinching down a survivor to either assist or waste time. Knight is only very strong if he decides to 2v1 a good survivor. He can do that dirty still. But so far with 2v4, not really. Most of my Knight games were going very sweaty, like very competitive, because while I do get a lot of valuable at the guards chasing the survivors, I'm not doing anything. I'm just an M1 killer. Like, all I have is just a 5% haste, which it is nice to have, especially if I'm chasing somebody down. But that only lasts for like 10 seconds, and then it fades away. And I'm like, damn, I need the pressure. So, like, I have to go help the guards because I'm not getting any downs. I can't use my Carnifex if the Jailer chase somebody, because if I use the Carnifex, well, then the Jailer is going to disappear and I lose the pressure a little bit. Especially if I don't know especially if that survivor is good at baiting the pallet. Like, I now notice that there are some survivors that are now baiting the pallets, and I figure, okay, he's probably going to drop it, and I was wrong, and then I wasted my Carnifex. Not my Carnifex, but I wasted the Jailer, because I can cancel the summon at least, but then I waste the Jailer. So, like, survivors are starting to learn how to deal with the Knight. Knight is not weak. He's not bad, and he is really strong, but he's not overpowered. I don't know why people say this. I think it's because they hate the Knight. Some people are like, let's just delete the Knight from the game. Like, no. No, man. You gotta accept the fact that Knight is a very unique killer. Like he's the only killer that can summon other killers and go after survivors. You want to get rid of a killer that has that much uniqueness with them. Besides, isn't it badass to have a medieval knight going after you? You're just running from this man, and all you hear is just coming after you. Like all you hear is that armor crunching coming closer and closer the moment before he gets hit. I mean, it's just kind of terrifying. But like, I mean, you gotta accept that his design is amazing. He's a knight, dude. He has a cape on. He has armor clenching everywhere for every footstep he makes, and it comes closer and closer to you as he's chasing you down. You just gotta accept the fact that the knight is just so damn like unique in almost every way, design-wise and power-wise, gameplay-wise too. But that doesn't mean that you should hate the knight. Okay, here's the thing. I don't like School Merchant. I don't think she's bad, but I do not like School Merchant, and I don't think her design is unique. It was a pretty shitty killer we have. But that doesn't mean I want School Merchant to just be deleted from the game. That doesn't mean that I hate her so much. I'll be like, oh, I want a DC against her. That doesn't mean all that. I hate going up against Spirit sometimes. But that doesn't mean I want her out of the game. And that doesn't mean I'm going to give up. Just play along, basically. It's called playing the game. And don't mind me with Stable. Me and her are having a moment here. Don't mind me. Anyways, so Knight is a fairly strong killer. Even against good survivors he is. But there are flaws to him that can severely down him. And that depends on how we play and how the map kind of goes. I think it's a little map dependent too. But the whole point, the reason why Knight got a rework, the whole reason why Knight has a rework was mainly because survivors were complaining that they're being 2v1'd every single time. You have a guard chasing you, then you have Knight chasing you, and you gotta deal with both, and it's just kind of unfair. So like, and I agree with them with that. And plus, before the rework even happened, I always liked to gen snipe and let the guards do my work. So I was mainly very happy about the rework because they're buffing the guards to be independent and nerfing the Knight where you can't really assist them that good. But now, unfortunately, here we are again. We need to assist the guards because we're losing pressure. You summon a jailer to chase a survivor down, and then you go do you, which is not a bad thing. But if you can't get a pressure going, even if the guard does not get a hit, if you cannot get hits or downs, you're losing pressure no matter what, even if the guard gets a hit or not. So we have to think of the big picture here. The Knight's own chase power basically is having a Carnifex to just smash for a pallet. That's pretty much the chase power of the Knight, is just smash a guard for a pallet. Just summon Carnifex and do the job. So Carnifex is used as a chase potential for the Knight. But if he summons the Assassin or the Jailer, he cannot use the Carnifex because if he does, the guard's not chasing that survivor, and so now the survivor can go back to the gen and do them. And then now gens are going to fly if you're not too careful. Even, I mean, you can still get it down. I don't know, it's very mixed understanding here with Knight. Knight is a unique killer. I don't, hot take here, but I actually enjoy going up against the Knight sometimes. Because while his power, and yes, his gameplay can be pretty shitty, he's just unique. You have to accept the fact that he's very unique. Could you ever have a killer that just summons minions and go after you and you're dealing with the minions? Plus, the guards work completely different compared to killers. The guards can just go through pallets and windows. They can phase through them. They run slower. Carnifex and Jailer run 102.5%, which is 4.1 meters per second. Actually slower than Myers' tier 1. And then they can only hunt you for a certain amount of time. They can't lunge at you like some killers can. You can't stun them with the pallet like you can with other killers. And all they do is they chase you down. Now the Assassin is just the fastest, so that you have to be careful. Assassin's mainly used to try to get hits. Jailer's used to lock down areas or lock down a survivor. And then Carnifex is used to just smash through things and helps you to either gen patrol better or just to have a better chase potential. So I figured because Knight players, like if the Knight is going to 2v4 a survivor, it's sometimes a bad idea because yes, you're chasing a survivor and the guard's chasing another survivor, which is good, but how are you going to get a hit? If they drop a pallet, you're just stuck having to break it. Everything you do as Knight is M1'd if you use a guard to go chase somebody. And that's why you're losing a lot of pressure a lot. So I figure if Knight just has, I don't know, a permanent 5 haste, like I mentioned in the rework that I made, but only if he decides to 2v4 and not 2v1 a survivor, then it will help the Knight to gain a little bit of the advantage in chase and be able to get pressure. Even if the guards, I'm not saying guards should have guaranteed hits, but their AI is so terrible that most of the time good survivors will almost never get hit by the guards unless if the Knight assists them. So I'm thinking maybe make the guards just a little bit faster, like 4.2 meters, the same movement speed as Myers. Just kind of give them, at least for Jailer and Carnifex, not the Assassin. The Assassin's the fastest, so the Assassin doesn't mean anything. Why do you think most of the Assassin hits I get are just him being fast enough? That's why most survivors get injured by my guard Assassin, because he's just the fastest. So because even despite how terrible the AI is, so if the Jailer and the Carnifex can have at least a little bit of advantage by just moving a little bit faster, then that way, even if they take advantage of the AI, they don't make too much distance. But we have to be careful because Jailer is the fastest, or not the fastest, but the longest that he can hunt. So maybe Carnifex should just have the 105 and Jailer should stay at the 102.5. I don't know, something like I'm trying to figure out here. At least that, or just make the AI a little bit better. Like, just make them go through the freaking pallet. Just make them go through the damn pallet and not turn back around and go around the wrong way. Just give them that, dude. Just come on now. But either way, Knight is still fairly strong, and I do love the killer, and that's my discussion about misunderstandings here with the Knight. Now for Dredge, he is good, and people are like, oh, you should watch Gaming Affleck. I know Gaming Affleck. I watch a lot of his videos. He is a Dredge main. I watch a lot of his games. And yes, while he did get good hits with the Remit, I still feel like the Remit is just so inconsistent to use. Like, if you're not careful with the Remit, survivors can easily run you for 3 or 4 minutes, and then you waste like 2 or 3 gens along that timeline. So you really got to be very careful here. So the Remit does proven to be useful, but I also think it's map dependent. The games I've been playing with the Dredge, survivors holding W, some of them don't because there's a dead zone. So I think not only Dredge map mobility is kind of map dependent with the lockers, but I think the Remit anti-loop is also very map dependent based on the design of the loops. Like Records Yard I could think of. You have a killer shack with all of the other fucking pallets and loops everywhere. Same thing for Blood Lodge. You think the Remit's going to be useful in that map? Because you have one loop that you can place it, and then they go to the other, and then it repeats the progress. It's pretty shitty. Plus, the Nightfall, I like how the Nightfall speeds up quickly per injured survivor, because it rewards the Dredge player to just go for multiple hits. But still, the Nightfall lasted for like, the Nightfall is like activated like 2 or 3 times, and then the game's over, and that's like, So I mean, I don't know. All I could think of is reduce the charge time, like I mentioned in the Dredge video, or at least just make the Nightfall faster. But all of these changes here, do you think that killer is going to be overpowered? Most of my changes I make with all the killers that I made in the previous videos, I'm worried if they're going to be overpowered, at least for decent survivors. And this is another topic here I want to make about is MMR. Remember, we have an old MMR system we used to have before the skill-based MMR appears. That kind of, I don't know, sick ruined the game, and everybody kind of hates it, and I hate it too. Because now the gameplay feels stale, it just feels like the exact same thing. You're going up against the same players that competes to your skill, or at least compares. But then it gets boring in each match because you have the same exact skill with the same exact other players. You never, like, when was the last time you go up against a Baby Dwight? Damn. Yeah, that Baby Dwight's probably going to die so fast because you're better than that Dwight. But dude, you know how funny that would be and interesting the gameplay would be? Like, oh, this is a Baby Dwight. I don't know. But like, how the old MMR system used to work is that no matter how good or how bad are you, if you at least perform at least good at the match, your MMR will go up, and then you go into the red ranks, and then even if, like, even in the red ranks, somebody could still play stupidly dumb, survivor or killer, even in the red ranks. Even if you're rank 1 on both survivor or killer, you could go up against like 1 or 2 players that could be stupidly pretty dumb. Either that, or, well, actually, I'm going to put it like this. You have a rank 1 survivor, and then you have like rank 16 or rank 13 other survivors. You have a rank 5 killer, and you have a rank 7 survivor. The numbers are just mixed up here. Like, you have somebody better than others instead of just like all in line. The skill-based matchmaking kind of puts them all in line. Like, you got red rank 1, red rank 1, red rank 1. All 5 players in each game is red rank 1. Both survivor and killer. You got 4 red rank 1 survivors and the killer. That's what it kind of, I'm going to put it like that. It's kind of easier to explain something like that. Instead of just having like, okay, you have a red rank 1 survivor, and then you have a rank 5 survivor, and you have a rank 7 killer, and you have a rank 12 or 11 survivor. So like the ranks are different. They're mixed up. But the whole point of the skill-based matchmaking is they put them in line, which, okay, I don't know how I feel about it, but it kind of worsens the game rather than, like, I don't know, make it better, whatever they're trying to plan. Because now the gameplay feels more stale. It's not just the perks. They reworked it 40 perks in the 6.1.0 update because the gameplay was stale. Everybody was using the same perks. But dude, it's not just that, but you go up against the same meta killers. You go up against the same nurses, the same spirits, the same Chuckies, and all that stuff. You don't go up against like Myers, or you don't go up against like Myers or even like Pyramid Head or Oni, like any of the good fun killers that you enjoy. Even Demogorgon. Holy crap, Demogorgon is always so fun to play against. But now, despite Stranger Things coming back, you don't see anybody playing Demogorgon. Even Demogorgon's buffs, nobody still plays him. That's because he's not truly meta against good survivors. We all have to think here that wherever we go up against the same exact survivors that has the same exact skill, we're so used to picking the best against the best. That's the problem with the old MMR. Like, it's safe to play Myers in the old ranking system. Despite of how outdated he is, it's safe to do so because you're going up against not good survivors, and so now you need a killer that isn't too strong to compare to that decent or bad survivor. But because we have skill-based MMR, now you're going up against survivors that have rank 1, rank 1, rank 1, like good or god survivors like every single match. And then you're like, okay, we can't play this killer no more because the killer cannot match with the survivor's skill level or how good the survivors are. Like, so now Myers get dropped it completely, and then you move on to like, okay, we're gonna try Chucky then, because Chucky's way better than Myers. Then you go up against fucking Nurse, and then you get with Nurse too a lot because Nurse is just better than Myers. Like, the bad killers like like Clown and Legion. I don't know about Legion. People still play Legion. Any of those like bad tier killers, nobody really plays them because we're going up against the same exact very damn good survivor teams. I mean, even if they're different players, they remember, it's skill based. They have the same skill as you do. So like now we have to match. They're matching with Myers' strength in terms, and Myers' strength in terms is not compared to good survivor skills. So Myers is now imbalanced with it, and then now it feels horrible playing as him because of the imbalance. And then now people are like calling for like buffs and stuff. We have the dredge buff. We have unknown changes coming in, probably because of terms of strength to tone down or tone up to match with the survivor skill. But it feels like a complete disaster doing so. The more changes that behavior makes for competitive vectored players like us, the more disaster it creates for beginner new players and even casual players who don't like to sweat hard. So like, this game is no longer beginner friendly no more. It's like 10 years old now. And I'm very excited to hear Unknown getting a change. September 17th is when the PTP drops, and I'm going to assume that it's probably going to be the finisher Mori, as they say. It might be also Skull Merchant's rework, and then Unknown's Quality of Lives, maybe. I highly doubt they're going to do Hillbilly and Twins. Not yet, that is. I think that's in October. Because in the roadmap, it says September to October for all the changes. So you got to say, okay, it's probably going to be... And the perks, too, like Leverage and No Way Out... Crowd Control, too. Those 2 perks, that's probably in September. And then the other half, like Distortion or... I forgot what the other ones is. That's probably in October. So, like, but we were calling in for killer buffs because we have to match their strength to the survivor's skill. If it's imbalanced, it's either too strong or too weak. Nurse is still strong as hell. But behavior looks at it like this. They look at the strength of each killer as the kill rate. And like what Patrick said, the manager, like, skill equals kill type of thing. A YouTuber made fun of this crap so hard. You play Twins, you body block Larry's. No survivor can get through it. Well, skill equals kill. There you go. There's your quote right there. That's why that's the reason why we're body blocking you. Skill equals kill. And then you get survivors that get really pissed off about it, and then behavior puts in the nerfs where, okay, now Twins lose collision, survivors can go right through them. So I mean, it is a complete disaster. But I really think old MMR should come back. If skill-based MMR is going to stay like this, more and more killers are going to get tweets and stuff. But then again, if they don't get tweets, they're just outdated like Myers. Myers is still the exact same killer we all know today, straight from the beginning of Dead by Daylight. So like, and I don't think it's good to always have Myers, or at least not good to always have the same killer that is just in the same exact position. It's always good to kind of spice things up a little bit. But what about good players and stuff? Like, we all have to think about ourselves here. Myers is in a bad spot most of the time because he's just outdated. He's not weak, but he's outdated. And then you have really damn good MMR survivors that are very competitive. Then the games go so sweaty, and then Myers have flaws, they take advantage of it, and then Myers keeps losing and stuff. So, like, now Dredge is getting buffs. Dredge got buffs mainly to improve the feel of how he plays because he was clunky, but also match the skill level strength of Survivor's skill to Dredge's strength. Either way, I kind of dropped out Dredge completely, though, because I just find the Remit so inconsistent to use. Like, it's just so pretty bad most of the time. Even if I get valuable out of it, most of the time it just doesn't feel good. And then Knight himself is not a bad killer, and yes, he is strong and fairly strong against really good survivors too, like skill-based and all that, but he's not overpowered. He's not OP like Nurse or Blight or Spirit. He's not that in terms strength. He's got flaws. AI guards can easily be stupid sometimes, and you can take advantage of that, and you can get away with it. Maybe not the Assassin, but so far with Jailer and Carnifex, yeah, you can easily escape them. And then as for the Knight himself, if he decides to 2v4, well, now he's just fully M1'd. All he has is a 5% haste, which is good, but it's not permanent. It doesn't last for like 30 seconds or all that, or even 24. No, it's just only 10 seconds. And then you have a Carnifex that can help the Knight to gain the advantage on survivors with smashing through pallets. But if you use the Carnifex, well, now the Jailer or the Assassin don't chase somebody. Now you don't 2v8 no more because now somebody is free from the guard, even if you can get it down. So now from Myers here, Myers, I still love Myers. Behavior confirmed that he's getting a rework like Freddy. I'm really hoping that's the case because he's not weak, but he's very outdated. He's got the same exact jumpsuit we all have and know. The same kitchen knife. Well, I mean, he has different cosmetics at least. You have a screwdriver, you got the FAML. Like, okay, but now look at his power. His add-ons have not been changed. Tombstone piece is legit still the exact same Tombstone add-on we all know to this day, and people hated going up against that. Most of the Myers players you're going up against, they always run Tombstone, because deleting a survivor straight from the damn match is what really helps Myers gain the advantage. Because Myers have flaws and stuff, and then you got survivors. Okay, they know all this. Now they have to go in lockers. That's just it. You just jump in lockers and all that. So if Myers is getting a rework, I'm also going to assume that his add-ons are going to be a rework. That's the big positive with Myers right now. His power is really not great right now. It used to be when the game was old, because you have old MMR and people were still learning the game, and you didn't have all the maps and all the brand new survivor perks and like all of that. But like now how it is, it just gotten so old with all the changes that happen around this game. Like the power is just now not good no more, because you got so many new maps that got reworked. You got so many new survivor perks they can use against it. It's just all disastrous there. And now it needs a change, because now it's not good no more because of all the changes that happened to the game. But despite of how bad the power is and can be right now as to this day, the add-ons is what really helps it. Memorial Flower, I love that add-on so much. I think it's one of his best add-ons to run. Having an increased stock rate with tier 3, or at least just tiering up completely, just having the meter, by far helps Myers so much, or at least helps me so much, that Myers now feels faster to play, or at least faster in overall. Just, I mean, I know in the movies he just walks, but like, you know, in the movies he's in the shadows, like he's sneaky, he stalks them like he is, and then he goes in for the kill wherever the time is right. And I love of how he's like that in the game. You stalk a survivor obliviously, and then you go in for the kill. This is the reason why I love running this build right here, Monitored Abuse. I think Monitored Abuse is by far his best perk. It fits him lore accurate, not gameplay. Well, yeah, maybe gameplay wise, but like lore accurate. His terror radius by default is just 16 meters. You use Monitored Abuse, you reduce that to 8 meters. 8 meters, just like Pyramid Head's punishment. That's the only time they hear you. And there were times where I have a Steve run right into me because he didn't know I was right there until it was too late when I was behind a wall. It's like freaking Dredge and Nightfall, but like you have permanent with Myers. Like, it's just so lore accurate. You go stalk a survivor in tier 2 and they don't even know you're there, because your 8 meters terror radius thanks to Monitored Abuse. And so they don't know you were there, and they can't even find you because of how good you can be if you know maps well. Then you go in for the kill. You go in for the kill before they, like, you hit them before they know what's happening. And oh my gosh, it's just so satisfying with Myers. It's like if Myers in the movies is stalking somebody, then goes in for the kill before they react. Like in the Part 2 movie, I could say, or Halloween 2. And I find barbecue chili very damn good on Myers too, because it helps with tier 3 potential. This build I'm running right now has got to be his best build so far I can think of. It helps improves many of the flaws Myers has. Like, barbecue chili helps a lot with his tier 3. His tier 3 is only limited, and if the survivors can hear his terror radius or hear him coming without him knowing, tier 3 is wasted. Like, you use it on one person, you can't rarely get it with the other person because they hold W away and shit like that. So Monitored Abuse also helps with this. He's 24 meters in tier 3, so it does help him to get closer before they start hauling away. But barbecue chili also very helps to just know which gen they're at or where they're at in general, and then you can go chain your tier 3 attacks. You down a survivor the moment you pop in tier 3, now you have the time left in tier 3 to go down somebody else before it ends, and barbecue chili will help that. I know I could run like Discordants or Trembly Trembers, but the reason why I don't run those two is because they're gen based. What if they're just like, I don't know, behind a killer shack or hiding behind a barrel? I not have that much fun playing as Myers with this build. But there are flaws, like early game issues he has. That is still his biggest flaw so far, and yes, it doesn't feel good most of the time. Myers has the potential, though, to be very dangerous. He's very good at snowballing. He could be a very deadly killer. To this day, he can still be the most dangerous killer to face. And I say more dangerous than Oni. Like, look at this clip right here. Ash just fucked himself right there. I vaulted so quick, he decided to commit. Now I have Talia, and this map right here, I don't like this map. It is pretty damn horrible for Myers. But because the window was in a different location that I just came out, Talia had no choice where to go. Now here's Claudette. This is why Myers is very dangerous here. He can vault faster. He can lunge further. He can instant down somebody. Oni runs fast, which, yes, he's dangerous. I mean, hell, you got Oni, you got Leatherface, and you also have Hillbilly, and they're all very dangerous. And Myers just has no animation cooldown, so that's why I find him the most dangerous. So far, I'm going to take a break from playing DBD. I think I play way too many DBD lately. I feel like every day I just hop on it, and I'm like, you know, I'm just tired right now. I'm just kind of exhausted, and I'm just burnt out playing the game. And so I'm just going to go take a break, play a different game, enjoy myself. And then if I feel like, okay, I'll probably make another video of DBD soon, but I think that will be about my my opinion with the changes that are coming up on the 17th. I'm assuming September 14th. I think September 14th is where they're going to announce what they're going to change. Either that or Friday the 13th. Oh yeah, I forgot. It's going to be Friday the 13th next week. My bad. Now, before I end this video, there's one last thing I want to talk about, and that is blood points. I'm just going to make it quick here. The blood hunt is very good. I think it should be base kit. I think blood hunt should just be permanent in the game as long as you play well. You as a killer, if you don't tunnel or camp, you should get rewarded for it even more. If survivor side, if you just don't play like a solo cube and do gens and be altruistic, you get that too. That's all I'm going to say. So anyways, I'm going to take a break from DBD, and I'm just going to play something else. So, see you later.